How's it going, everybody? My name is Tyler. I'm 30 years old, and I'm making this video to maybe help somebody out there who's going through or considering or has already had AC joint surgery. So I had injured my AC joint in February 6th, during a snowboarding accident, is when I fell, caught an edge, landed directly on the shoulder. Heard it pop, felt a bone kind of sticking up through the skin. Um, was in like a moderate amount of pain after I fell, but I was like, hey, like I could still move it. It's good. Um, Great. I just dislocated it. Let's pop the shoulder back in there, and then I should be good to go. Because, shoulder dislocation's easy to fix, painful, but good to go. So after I fell, mind you, this happened in Canada. I live in the United States. I was on a trip with my friends. Again, caught an edge, fell on my shoulder. Anyway, so I fell, right? That whole experience and ordeal happened. Went to the hospital in Canada, and they're like, "Nah, bud, you didn't dislocate your shoulder. You separated your AC joint." Um, if you guys are anything like me, I went into complete panic mode. I've never broken a bone my entire life, much less separated a bunch of ligaments and completely separated my shoulder, which could potentially require surgery. Um, Not knowing what the experience was like, not knowing what to expect, not knowing how to rehab it, not knowing what to do from this point forward, I started researching as much as I could online. In Canada, they have, I guess, a three-grade system for AC joint separations, one being the least severe, three being the most severe. Um, in the US, or at least with my doctors, when I got back to the States, we have a five or six tier system, one being the lowest grade, six being the highest. Um, so, following my injury in Canada, I get back to the United States. I schedule an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon, probably like 3 or 4 days after I got back from Canada. I sit down with the doctor. He does like a couple shoulder manipulation things, and he was like, took an X-ray, obviously, and was like, "Hey, bud, you have a grade 5 separation. You're going to need surgery." Again, somebody who has never broken a bone in their entire body, someone who's never had a surgery before, I was like, no, there's got to be a way we can rehab this. I don't want to do the surgery for multiple reasons. Um, I don't want to be out of work for that long if it's something that I could rehab. Um, I don't want to have to deal with taking narcotics, especially having never taken them in my entire life and knowing what that could do to people. Um, and I was like, I'm starting to feel better. Like, why would I make it worse? Because everything that I was reading online said that AC joint surgery is extremely painful, especially by day 2 or 3. It's going to suck. So that's the whole point of why I'm making this video. I wanted to share my experience with you guys, and I also wanted to um, hopefully help you guys make sense of everything and not psych yourself out. So I ended up going for a second opinion with a second orthopedic surgeon because, like I said, I didn't want to have to do surgery. And I said, "Hey, doc, is this something that I could rehab?" And the second doctor was like, "Sure. I mean, you can try to rehab it. What I will tell you is moving forward, you are just going to waste a lot of time. You're going to waste a lot of effort and money because your shoulder won't be supported. You are going to have deficits for the rest of your life. The bone will still be sticking up out of the skin. You won't be able to lift, and your shoulder could actually regress if you don't get surgery, potentially, right?" And he was like, typically with most grade 3 separations and above on that sixth grade scale, um, you're most likely going to require surgery in order for you to have less deficits moving forward. Um, Considering what I do for work and being in a fairly physical job, Um, that was not an option. So I had to get surgery. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's probably when the panic started to sink in because I started reading a lot more online. And the more that I read online, it seemed like everybody on Reddit had like the worst AC joint surgery experience. It was like, oh my God, this sucks. This is painful. The rehab is long. You're in a sling, which all of that is true, right? To an extent. And I'm not trying to downplay anybody's personal experience because I have no doubt that those people on Reddit were in pain. They did not like the sling and it sucked. Um, Hopefully, though, my experience will reassure you guys. Um, so anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. Getting back to the point. So I ended up opting for surgery, right? I just had surgery yesterday at 3 p.m. So it was about a month after the injury. I injured my shoulder on February 6th, went in for surgery on March 6th. So about a month in between. My doctors recommended sooner surgery because the sooner you get the surgery following the injury, the more likely it is that you'll be set up for success later with less deficits. The longer that you wait to have surgery for an AC joint separation, you could have longer lasting deficits, like the shoulder being more unstable and having instability issues, um, frequent pain, nerve damage, and a lot of things. Whereas if you got the surgery right away or sooner, you should be good to go with less deficits. Now, I know for some of you that have a grade 3 separation and you're kind of on that fence or on the cusp of could you rehab it and be fine without deficits? Sure. Or do I need surgery? Well, my experience was great. I'm going to be honest with you. I went to Dr. Axe with First State Orthopedics. Like I said, I got there at the surgery was scheduled for 3. I got there at 1:30, checked in. I sat down with the nurses. They went over, where they're going to be doing the surgery, double checking a lot of information. Then I met with the anesthesiologist, who was kind of just explaining to me the process, which is something that I was also really worried about, not ever having a surgery before. And he was like, well, here's how the process works. We're going to give you a nerve block in your injured shoulder. So what that does is it essentially kills all the nerve, not kills, but it numbs all the nerves in your arm. You're not going to be able to feel anything for 6 to 12 hours. We're going to give you an IV. We are going to give you anesthesia. And the part that I wasn't a huge fan of is they were like, we're going to intubate you. We're going to stick a tube down your throat that's going to help you breathe if an emergency happens or something were to happen. We already have that tube down there. Um, Obviously, you're not awake for that. They do it after you're already under anesthesia and you're knocked out. But I mean, just hearing that kind of sucked. So what they ended up doing, they gave me an IV. You can still see the mark to pump the anesthesia. They gave me the nerve block, which completely numbed everything from like my neck down to my finger through my arm, which was great. Um, then they gave me like a little mask, which I'm assuming was like the gas anesthesia, and I was out. Next thing I remember, I'm waking up and I was completely fine. A lot of things that I had read online was some people had experienced after AC joint surgery waking up in excruciating pain. And that was one of the other reasons why I was trying to avoid surgery. Especially if it's going to be that painful. I was like, oof, I mean, I'm feeling okay now. But I woke up zero pain. The nerve block definitely kicked in. I couldn't feel any of my fingers. They were all numb. Couldn't lift my arm if I wanted to. Not that I would need to, because I'm in a sling and they just operated on me. But the whole left arm was dead. So they kind of stuck with me for like an hour. The doctor warned me that you are going to have some pain in your throat from the tube coming in and out, which is noticeable. I mean, it's not extreme pain, there's no bleeding, nothing like that, but it feels like a sore throat or kind of like your lymph nodes are swollen if you guys have ever had the flu or like tonsillitis or something like that. Your neck just, it's uncomfortable, but it's not unbearable. Um, So yeah, surgery went well. Did not feel any pain after waking up. Um, they prescribed me my medications. I left the surgery center around 5 p.m. So it took about 2 hours. I ended up getting the dog bone AC joint reconstruction surgery with the allograft put in. So that is the surgery that I have. I know there's 1,000 different types of AC joint surgery. You can still see the sutures, but we are now on day 2, and pain-wise, we are good. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most pain I've ever been in, my pain level is a 1. The nerve block has worn off. I can now move my fingers. I can lift my arm on the operated shoulder. Um, and I've only taken 2 pills of what they had prescribed me for pain, and I have 0 pain right now. Granted, right, we are only on day 2. So, I mean, I'm sure as things progress, it might change. Um, but as of right now, I'm good to go. The only pain that I have really is obviously where the sutures are, it is very tender. Obviously, they cut me open, so it's going to be tender. Um, and my neck muscles here are pretty sore, probably from the surgery and the fact that, my body is adjusting to now being in a sling for the next 6 weeks. Um, so I ended up going home at around 5. Surgery took an hour. They kept me for an hour for observation. Ended up going home at 5, picking up my prescriptions, and I went to bed around 9. The other thing that I read online from a lot of people and looking at other YouTube videos was that you're not really going to sleep well. That wasn't the case for me. I slept great. I slept for about 7 hours. Went to bed at 9, woke up at around 4 in the morning. Not because I was in pain or anything, but just my body naturally woke me up. Um, the one thing that I will tell you is that um, I could not sleep in a bed. I did have to sleep in a recliner. And if you guys are anything like me, I do not like sleeping sitting up. It was very hard for me to do as a kid. I couldn't fall asleep in a chair. Like I would always have to be the one that has to lie down to get good sleep. It would take me forever to fall asleep sitting up um, if I tried. So that was one thing that I really wasn't a fan of. Um, you, you will need to sleep in a recliner or at least in a seated position. If you don't have a recliner, I get it. Sleeping in a chair like this um, is okay, but you're more comfortable, obviously, if you can lean back. I tried laying down on my back. It's not like it was excruciating pain, but you do feel like discomfort from the pressure coming forward. And speaking with my doctors, they said if you can sleep on your back, do it. If not, then don't. Most people after this type of surgery will sleep in a recliner. So that's what I ended up doing. I got some good sleep, woke up, no pain. I took another um, oxy pill that they prescribed me, and so far so good. Again, I've said this probably 4 times throughout this video, but I researched a lot, and it got me really anxious. It got me really nervous. And I am here to tell you if this video helps at all, it is not that bad. Um, Everybody's experience is different though, right? So it could be different for you. I really hope that it's not. But so far, we are on day 2 and things are going way better than I expected. I will be making videos documenting my recovery and my rehab if anything changes. And like I said, I'm just making these videos to hopefully help some of you out there if you are worried or anxious or psyching yourself out, not really knowing what to expect. The other thing that I wanted to touch on is when you go through this surgery, one of the things that I have seen time and time again pop up on Reddit, pop up on YouTube from people who have gone through this, and pop up through speaking with my doctors is you want to stay ahead of the pain. What that means is when they prescribe you pain medication, take it regularly as they prescribe it. So, for example, my Oxy prescription that they gave me, didn't want to take it, not really sure how it was going to make me feel, don't like the whole concept of taking a narcotic, but they told me even if you do not feel pain, take it regularly every 4 to 6 hours. Um, Stay ahead of the pain. So you keep those oxys in your system to limit you from feeling any of your pain receptors. If you aren't confident in taking a narcotic and you only take a half pill, or you want to wait until you feel pain in your shoulder, that's called falling behind the pain. And taking the full dose, trying to catch up to block those receptors that you're feeling, you might never do that again. It's called catching up to the pain. So once you fall behind and you start feeling pain, it is harder for those medications to kick in to where you don't feel any pain anymore like you were previously. So that is really the only other thing that I will tell you. I get it, guys. I I was nervous about taking them. Not a fan of taking them. I'm going to stop taking them as soon as I can. Um, but they will help if you are feeling any pain, and that is probably a large reason why my pain level right now is a 1 out of 10. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to wrap it up here. But I will get back to you guys with any questions you might have. If there's anything that I didn't cover that you would like me to cover as far as what my arrangements are, um, yeah, just let me know. Hopefully this video helps, and I'll let you guys know how things progress here in the next week. See ya.